I've been doing that lately, which is not a good thing for a podcaster to do, right? Okay. Well, I'm sure people may still be joining, but we'll go ahead and officially get started. Hi, everyone. I'm Julie Marty-Pearson. I am your host of the Women's Podcaster Party. I have been doing these networking events for a little over 2 years now. And I just love creating a space for all of us to come together, to connect, to network, get to know each other, and, maybe even find some potential collaborations. I am very disappointed to say that our intended featured speakers for today will not be here. Unfortunately, they had a family medical emergency and someone had to be in surgery today. So they were not able to be here and they felt awful about it. They let me know yesterday, so they will hopefully be coming to the June party to share their presentation and talk about their experience in podcasting and film and media. So I just wanted to let you all know, but that just means we have more time to network. So we'll get to network throughout this whole hour. And the way we get started is I will go around the Zoom room. Everybody will get 1 minute to introduce themselves. Tell us whatever you would like to tell us about you, your business, if you have a podcast, if you're a guest, whatever you feel like sharing. And you're also welcome to drop any links in the chat as well. And so we will get started with that in just 1 second. I'm going to move another AI off here. Okay. I am going to pull up my little timer because as women in podcasting, we could all just, take the floor and talk for a while. So I always like to use the timer so we all have equal time. Now I just have to figure out where Zoom put it. There it is. I swear, I don't know what you guys, every time I come into Zoom, I feel like things have moved. So we'll get that up. Okay. And I will start off and then I'm just going to go around the Zoom room and we'll do introductions and then we'll do some breakout rooms. We'll have some chats around some topics related to podcasting and we'll just do some open Q&A. If anyone has questions they want to ask the big group, we'll allow time for that too. So again, hi everyone. I'm going to start the timer, so I only have 1 minute too. I am Dr. Julie Marty-Pearson. I am your host here in the Women's Podcaster Party. This networking event is also a part of my paid membership community, the Podcast Your Story community, which is officially celebrating 1 year. I'm very excited about that. I'll be very honest. There were moments was like, is this working? Do people want this? And so I'm very excited to celebrate a full year. I also have too many podcasts. My first podcast is the story of my pet, where I talk about animal rescue, fostering, and adoption. That is now celebrating 4 years, but will soon be sunsetting for a little while so that I can focus on my other podcasts. Podcast Your Story, which is all about amplifying women's voices in podcasting, and my newest podcast, Still Becoming Women Unmuted, a place for topical conversations around things that are important to women. So I will share those links in just a second, as well as some upcoming events that I have going on if anyone would like to join us. All right, I'm just going to go around the Zoom room. Amy Stone, would you like to go next?
You betcha. So my name is Amy Stone, and the name of my show is The Art of Imperfect Adulting. So I host that. I share stories of personal choices and change. So the choice you made and what impact it had on your life. Very lucky. I've had many of the people in this room on the show. I'm currently in Denver. I was channeling Lee. If your ears were burning, I went to my very first in-person dot thing this morning because I was like, Lee does this. So I just looked it up and I hopped into a random thing in Parker, Colorado. So that is good. I'm happy to be here. If you see me shut off my camera and stuff like that, it's like I'm in a hotel room. Weird things are happening, but I'm here in support. All the things.
Thank you very much. And Amy also has a newer endeavor called the Creators Roundtable, which is a live stream event she is now hosting. So you can check that out as
Yes.
well.
And I will say that is harder to do Sorry, that's a timer on my end. That's harder to do from a hotel room, like, or like an Airbnb. That's the thing. Like people who are nomadic, like my hat is off to you because you never know what you're gonna get. But yeah, that is my fun project to support in a complementary way to what Julie does, like supporting the growth and visibility of women who are creating podcasts and video shows and things like that. Like so really, really fun stuff. I've seen Connie many times in the last 24 hours in
I know,
a
I was
Zoom
just
room.
thinking of everybody on the screen who I've seen recently in other
All right,
events.
very
I
good. So
love
I'm
it when we
gonna
get to see each other multiple times.
and don't be offended if I turn off my camera because it's like nothing but love here, but yes.
Thank you. No worries. Okay, next up I've got Jackie. Oops, they moved.
Hey everybody. I love seeing all the familiar faces and a couple faces I haven't met yet. So I'm super excited. I'm Coach Jackie. I'm your freedom mentor. I've got a podcast called the I Got It Girl that just got launched through Julie's program. So I highly suggest if you want to do if you want a podcast, work with Julie. Super easy, simple. Gets it up and running. And now I'm in a place, Julie, where I want to actually start to like now strategically make it something that makes money, right? So working on that next. And I'm in Colorado. I am also writing a book to go along with the podcast, but that's not going to come out to 2027 called The I Got It Girl. And I eventually want to have like a whole tour of the I Got It Girl too, like bring all the people that have been on the podcast into uh, Got It Girl tour. So I have all these dreams and grandeur dreams of all this stuff. So I'm so excited. And yeah, I think that I hit all the points.
Love that.
And I'm a nomad. I live in an RV. If you ever have questions, let me know.
I love that. I love to hear how podcasting evolves into other things.
Yes. Yeah, I guess all because of the Mel Robbins event, and I was like, well, she could do it in 5 years, so can I. Like, if she can do a tour for the Let Me Theory, write a book, and have a podcast, because she's under 5 years with her podcast. She's only 3 years for her podcast, and I'm like, yeah, I know she's got a lot more going on. My itty bitty's like, but I'm like, no, 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 I can do it too.
Yep, absolutely. Yay. Love that. Okay, next we have Kathy.
Perfect. Well, it's wonderful to be here. Always love to hang out with inspiring ladies. And I do not have my own podcast, but I love to be on podcasts. And some of the things I talk about are anything to do with midlife women, recreating our lives, stepping into new possibilities. And on the other side of that, the main thing I do in life is create multi-author books, mainly focused on giving women opportunities to become published authors and sharing their story and like a lot of you, kind of raising the voices of women. And so I would definitely love to connect, and I would love to be on pretty much all of the shows that I've heard about so far, all about women and taking on life.
Love that. Yes. And oops, where did my timer go? Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. I'll turn that off. I love that. That's what I love about this event, and it's one of the reasons I keep doing it. It's such a great place to meet people and find podcasts to guest on, find guests for your podcast. So I love hearing that. Welcome, Kathy. Okay, next we have Sarah.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Kernels. I am a life coach. I help people going through breakups, and I have a podcast called Breakup Pep Talks. So I love bringing on guests. I'm just starting to bring on guests. So I love people who have a personal story to share or any advice on how to navigate heartbreak, how to navigate starting over, how to navigate transition. I'm also a guest. I love going on podcast and taking my unique approach to how people can heal and use it as a launching point for their life. So I'm really excited to be here. Yeah. I also apologize. I have to hop off at 1:30. I had an emergency client session.
No worries, not at all. And I always like to say this, especially for first timers, please come as much as you can. If you need to come a little late, we all have busy things. We'd love to have you as much as we can in this community. Thank you so much. Okay, next in my Zoom room, I've got Lee.
So, I am a full-time novelist. I have been a podcast guest on numerous podcasts, mostly talking author talks or on how I accidentally wrote my first novel, which kind of pivoted everything and how I kind of don't follow the rules, which clearly I don't follow rules anymore because I literally live in my car now. So yeah, cool. It's a whole thing now. Don't ask. But I also have been on podcasts about homelessness and poverty. I've been on a few TV and radio shows as well, talking about that issue. So I do a lot of different things on podcasts, kind of well rounded. Can talk about a lot of subjects. You let me talk, I'll talk. Cool.
Love that. I think that a lot of us in this room could do that. Whatever you want me to talk, we're good. Just tell me and we'll go. Love it.
Yeah, and I've been on Amy's and I've been on quite a few Dots podcasts. So
yeah, I think there's quite a few polka dots in the room. There's maybe almost everyone actually, but I always love having dots in this community. So thank you for being here. Okay, next in my Zoom room is Tamira. Would you like to go next?
Absolutely. My name is Tamira Hamilton. I am from Wisconsin, and I was about to go into my whole dot spiel, but this is not a dot meeting. So I actually do not have a podcast, but I have been on, I can't even count how many podcasts I've been featured on. Most recently, Andrea Stenberg, who sometimes is on this call. I recorded an episode for her Courage to Be Visible. And tomorrow I'm recording with another dot, Kelly Tenney, on AI. I am actually a digital marketing and business growth strategist. So I work with high performing, high achieving, usually hyper independent women who are growing profitable and sustainable businesses. And what we do to get them unstuck or to scale is we simplify their strategy, monetize their message, and create consistent income without depleting them in the process because they're hyper independent, high performing, high achieving women.
Yes, love that. And Tamira has actually been one of our featured speakers, so I'm going to drop in the link in the chat, the link to the recording from her speaking. She did a great job talking to us about YouTube and how to get more subscribers on YouTube. So I will drop that right now. All right, next up I've got Lynn.
Hi, everyone. I am in Louisville, Kentucky, and I don't have a podcast currently that uses guests, but I'm thinking about a new one that will. My work in the world is all about how we recognize the hidden patterns that hold us back and get rid of them. So I can talk on a wide range of subjects. I also spent 15 years as a sales coach for coaches and consultants. So I often am tapped to speak about how the hidden patterns hold us back in our solopreneur journey specifically. I'm also the founder of the Wise Women Collective, which is a free women's connection community where there are lots of podcast hosts and lots of great guests. So if you're either one of those, you're welcome there, and I'll put links to all of that in the chat.
Amazing. I love that. I will definitely be checking that out.
Oh, and I'm also the producer of the Be More Conference for Women, which is a twice a year global virtual conference. The speaker applications for our fall conference open June 1st. I'll put a link to that in the chat too.
Yeah, somebody else shared that with me. I remember. So, yes, please share. Lots of speakers in this room. Thank you so much. Okay, Marlene. I hope I said that right. You're next.
Marlene.
Marlene. Okay.
Very nice to meet you all. Yes, I'm so having exciting year. I started my school community, the Podcast Conversion Lab, and what I love to do is sending people to write podcasts and then making sure they don't waste the opportunity. So they actually leverage the podcast by what they do before, during, and after the episode, how they leverage the host, the content, and the audience. And so the goal is to make partnerships and clients from podcast guesting, not just have fun for most people. So I'm really podcast guest um, revenue strategist, and that's what I'm passionate about. And I became a published author this month, as well as finishing my signature course. So a lot of things coming.
Love it. Congratulations. Yes, being strategic about your podcast guesting is so important. So, such an important service you provide. Okay, next we've got Megan.
Hello, it's so nice to be here. I'm Megan. I'm from Staten Island, New York, and I've been on a few podcasts over the past 4 years because not really because I'm the founder of like a weight loss mentorship program, but more because I'm a keeper offer of 100 pounds. So that's something that people enjoy hearing about. They kind of perk up their ears at like, what's that like? What is the maintenance part like? That's something that it's hard to get like solid information about what it's like to keep it off. So that's a piece that in case that would be interesting for your folks, please do reach out to me and let me know. I see that a lot of us are guests here, and that's nice because usually it's a lot of speakers or a lot of podcast hosts. So it's nice to have guests here.
Yes, I love that too. Thank you so much for being here, Megan. And it is such an important thing. As someone who's dealt with weight issues my whole life, the keeping it off is the hardest part, right? Although I would say, as a 48-year-old woman, now it's even harder to get it to start to come off. But yes, keeping it off is very difficult. Okay, next up, Connie.
All right. So I'm Connie. I'm in Littleton, Colorado. And just so you know, Amy, if it works out, and it may not, I would love to meet with you because I'm not that far from Parker. But I did the opposite of what Jackie did. And so I wrote a book. And then this is sort of my theme for a podcast coming up. And so the book is called Speeding to Compassion, and it's my journey to use what I teach, like in meditation, yoga, all that stuff, and actually applying it to driving on the road and still being a kindful, mindful person because I wasn't at times. And so I'm working with Julie, and I'm going to be doing a podcast, and it's going to be called Mindful, Kindful Living. And so that's where I'm at.
Yay, I'm so excited for you. Now, and Connie is the perfect example of someone who came to me to get help with guesting and said, I don't need a podcast. I don't want a podcast. And here we are getting her started with her own podcast.
I drank the Kool-Aid.
Yes. And I will always say this. I am not a podcast pusher. I do not believe everyone needs one. Guesting is a fabulous way to utilize podcasting to grow your business. But when you feel the urge and realize that you have something more to give, I love seeing women take that on. So happy to have you here, Connie. Okay, next up we have Katrina.
Hey everyone. Sorry I was a couple minutes late. I think I only missed a couple of you maybe. But I'm happy to be here. I do have a podcast. I'm a speaker, author, and a business coach. I've been speaking and helping entrepreneurs for 25 years. And about 8 years ago, I started doing so many books, it was just cheaper to do my own. So I have a publishing company. I help people with solo books, but also compilation books. And the podcast is called She Levels Up. It's about stop settling, where women stop playing small and start profiting big. And so it's interviews on any topic, actually. And Amy, I need to have you on because I was on yours. I just am getting through the first round of people who've applied, and I haven't even launched yet, but I think I have 24 interviews recorded. I need to stop because my assistant had a baby, and so she hasn't been able to zhuzh all the things to get it actually out. So that's where I'm at.
Love that. And I feel you. I've been sitting on, I don't know. The last month's been crazy. I'm sitting on a bunch of recorded interviews I need to get out. But I think that's what's great. I think, especially in some of these communities like this one, many of us are polka dot. Some of us are also in other communities like the Feminist Podcast Collective. I don't feel like I have a hard time finding guests. It's having time to get all the guests on my podcast, right?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to make sure I did not miss anyone because the Zoom room shifted a few times. Okay, I got everyone. While I have everyone here, I know some people have to leave early, all of that. Let's get a group photo. For those of you, this is your first time, I always take a group photo, and then after the event, I post it on the socials and I link everyone. I find that to be the fastest way for everyone to connect. I'm going to move the chat out of the way. Okay, I'll give you a countdown and then we will take a photo. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you so much. Okay, so before we jump into some breakout rooms, I know our featured speakers were supposed to be talking about interviews, both from the guest and host perspective. So I thought I would start our conversations up by asking, does anyone have any big questions or tips they would love to share with the rest of us in the room around interviewing? I know that is something I've had women say to me. They're fearful of starting to guess because they don't know how to prepare to be a good person who is interviewed or doing the interviews themselves if they have their own show. Yeah.
I'll
Katrina.
ask a question. So, for you podcast hosts, what do you do when a guest is super boring? Like, I have so much energy, and it isn't like when someone's really I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to air this. Like, everybody's gonna shut it off. Like,
I will start and then anyone else who wants to share. So I can personally say I've had a couple of those. It doesn't happen often. So what I have learned is I do not have anyone on my podcast if I haven't met them. I do an intro call to get a vibe check. And so that's my kind of first gatekeeping. I've also learned, because I get reached out to a lot by authors and publishers, that just because someone is a good writer does not mean they're a good verbal storyteller. And so, yeah, so I always kind of do a check. That's something I've started doing. Okay,
I haven't wanted to
Amy.
do that because it's just like another call.
More
It's like,
time, right.
yeah. But okay, Amy, what you got?
So I will answer this. And one of the reasons I will answer this is that story behind the story. When Katrina pitched herself to be on my show, she put on the application, she was like, I'm like, hey, go listen to one of the episodes, mostly so that people don't come thinking that, I have like some like, aerospace show or something, right? But she put in the application, she's like, all right, so I listened to this one, but that guest was not very interesting. She's like, you were fine. And then I listened to this other one and it was much better. Anyway, one of the things that I think about sometimes when I have a mismatch in vibe with a guest or somebody has a different energy level to me is that I don't know what stories are going to resonate with my audience. And I'm a really fast talker. I am sarcastic. I am all of these things, but I do try to keep it in mind that people actually appreciate. I don't know what the audience is going to appreciate. So sometimes people might appreciate someone who has more detailed, less high energy, so on and so forth. And so sometimes when it's in my mind, it's like, okay, I would not invite this person over for like, happy hour at my house. I may still publish the episode. The episode that Katrina was happened to talk about, that person it was such a nice idea. And though truthfully, she wasn't great at telling her story. And it's not like it went out to be like a super successful episode or anything. But other times, I think guests are going to like be this great hit because they're so vivacious and no one tunes in. And then one of the top episodes that I have published in the last year is an interview I did with a woman who is in her 70s, and she and I have a completely different meter in our voices. She loves opera, she's a caregiver, all of those things. but she just really resonated with the audience, and her episode is like a top thing. So I figured I'd tell that story because it can go a bunch of different ways.
You never know.
I love
Yes.
that, Amy, because I think that is something that's important, especially as hosts, to think about, that it may not be something we would love to listen to, but that doesn't mean there aren't people out there who need to hear it
Yeah.
or would like to. Because, you know, we all have different vibes. So that's, and I have had that happen where I've had a guest where I thought this is going to be a huge episode and it wasn't. And something else that I didn't think is like one of the top 3 episodes. So sometimes we just don't know.
But you have to keep your energy during the time. You're like,
That is the hard part as
what
an
else am I going to
interviewer.
ask this person to like get them out of their shell?
Yeah, that is
Or
not
I
my
start,
problem.
like multitasking because there's
Right.
like, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, what do I have to ask them? How
Yeah,
can
especially
I
when
just
you're
end
doing a
this?
good job of asking open-ended questions and you're getting 1 or 2 words back. That's just like you feel like you're beating your
That's
head
the
against the wall.
hardest. Yeah. And you can, if you listen to 100 of my shows, you'll hear that like every once in a while, it's like Amy is telling, like I am carrying the interview. I'm like, and then, ba 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 ba, because the other person is not
Right. And I
carrying
would
their weight.
agree. That is something I've learned to do is then if they're
Yeah.
not giving enough, then I start inserting my own stories in
Right.
how I ask questions to give a little more context. And it does take more effort on our term, but if we feel like we're not getting enough, sometimes we have to fill it in ourselves. Jackie, did you want to share something?
Being a newer podcaster, like 2 months in, it's funny, you guys hit on everything I wanted to say. Yes, you might want to meet some people. I'm doing people that I know right now really well, but I also am making them listen to an episode before they even get on, even if I do know them, because I want them to be familiar with the format and this, like the way the flow goes, because I don't edit and I don't have a question list and and it's very free flowing. And it's like, if you don't like that, then don't come on, like if that's not your jam. And the other thing was matching them where they're at. And I understand, like, if your energy's here and their energy's here, like, you kind of like have to mold a little bit to the energy and modeling it a little bit so that it doesn't seem so dramatic on the episode. So it's like, and if that's why the pre-interview might be good for some people, for you. Just saying, like, that.
Yeah.
I know it's more time, but I am going with people more so that I've been on their podcast first, and then people that I know that I've had great conversations with, and then leading into when it's a new person I don't know, I'm going to research them, try to listen to them in other places, see if they've been other places, and then go, do I need to meet them? So maybe it's going to be 1 out of every 10 I might have to meet,
Well, I've been accepting everybody as they come in right now. So I just
And that's not untypical. I did the same thing early
don't
on.
have to do that. Yeah.
But it's also, I think as women, we sometimes have a hard time with our boundaries. And as a host, you have to own that it's your show and you get to decide who comes on and who doesn't. But also, I want to say it's also your right to never air an episode if you feel like it wasn't good. I have a couple I've never put out because they just weren't good.
What do you do about, like, how do you tell the person, thanks for your time, but I'm not going to air your episode?
Well, one of the ways I handle it is by saying in
that
my
means you
guest
suck. Like, that's horrible. I feel like I'm saying you suck. Like,
so I handle it
I
a
don't wanna
couple
be a-
ways. I put it in my guest form that it is up to me how it is released, if it is released, how it is edited. And they have to initial that they read that. So
or just
it
air
was
on a
never
holiday
an issue
weekend
for
or
me
something.
because honestly, they never reached out to ask if it was out. And I've also had somebody recently who, my pet one is something I do off and on, because it's not a moneymaker for me. It's more fun. And someone reached out that they were disappointed their episode hadn't come out and they didn't want me to use it now. So you never know how people are going to respond.
I have somebody hounding me already. I'm like, dude, it's been a month. I told you it'd be 3 months, like, till it's out. Like, calm the hell down. She tried to sign up again to get recorded again. I'm like, no, I already have your recording. I don't know what you're doing.
Oh my goodness.
Driving me
Lynn, yeah. What did you want to share?
I don't even know if I want this. Tamira, I don't know. Like, it might be too much headache for you, girl. Let me just tell you.
Don't listen to her. It's easier. It's easier than you think. Don't listen. Like, it's every different experience. Everyone's different. So.
Yeah, it's really a matter of managing my consistency and capacity and energy, which is really the holdup, along with talking for that long.
Yeah.
Right.
But, I was at Social Media Marketing World and I was listening to a lot of the podcaster speakers and stuff and all the ins and outs. And I got some great information. And there's some podcasters out there that say just do limited series podcasts, if because I find myself sometimes I'm getting bored. So I'm like, okay, I think this one's going to be a limited series of a podcast is something, or different topics of podcasts or something.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, a
So
lot of people
anyway.
will do like either seasons based on topics or limited series based on topics, and you can keep it on the same feed even if you change topic or change names.
Yeah.
So you just go with what works.
Yeah,
Lynn, go ahead.
So I was going to suggest, Katrina, because I really hear you about it's one more dang meeting to do that pre-thing. So one of the things you can do when you're on with them, you're about to record, is just really give them some minor coaching about telling stories, right? If you can just get them telling stories, right? And so, give them the idea. And then if you're in the conversation and they still aren't telling stories, then ask not just open-ended questions, but pointed open-ended questions that say, what's a story? Like literally ask them for a story. What's a story of the most unusual time, or what's the story of when you were surprised, or what's the right, like whatever's appropriate to their thing, right? Lead them down the path. And then if they still don't, just cut it short and don't publish it. But
No, I like that.
I agree with you. It is, I've had a podcast before with guests, and the biggest thing for me was it's such a time suck to just like get all of it organized that I can't do another meeting too. So we would spend 3 minutes maybe before we started really making sure everybody understood, okay, we're going to tell stories. We're going to, right? Just give them a little coaching right then at the beginning.
And I've definitely been on podcasts where hosts do that. They do a little coaching. They give me a sense of what they're going to say or ask. There's a way to utilize the time. And, it does take more time, but I'm really glad I do pre-chats. Although I will say that doesn't always show you. Recently, I recorded an episode. I met her through Podmatch. And people I meet through Podmatch, I do pre-chats with because I just don't know them at all. We had a great pre-chat. We totally connected and had fun. And then in the interview, I could not get more than 3 or 4 words out of her. Every question, I just kept trying, and I was like, what? I did not see. So it doesn't always help. I mean, in general, it can, but sometimes people just, maybe she was having an off day. I don't know. So I don't know if I'll use it. I'll kind of wait and see if I get to a point where I need it and I don't feel like recording new ones. But I really love that you mentioned, like, several of you, consistency and time. That's something I talk about with people whenever they're thinking about it, because you have to have the time for the interviews for that part of it. And if you don't see it long term, then limited series is a great way to go about it.
Yeah.
Jackie.
And another thing I just recently saw on another podcast that this woman does is that you might be someone who doesn't want to do as many interviews, and you do, like, she does 7-minute like 7 minutes to slay kind of thing, like snippets of like you sharing information, sharing like stories or information that are short and sweet and done and gone. And because I do I don't do the pre-call, I do the pre-interview before the interview, like we chat about it that way. But I've known everybody so far. So I can understand. So if you don't want to take a lot of time, but I will say, because of Julie, because of AI, it only takes like a max of an hour and a half per thing to do pre-interview, the actual interview, editing, and posting. Like, and I do it myself, and I'm not techie, girl. You know that. Like, I mean, we've talked. I suck at technology, like suck. And if I can do it in less than like an hour to an hour and 15, 30 minutes max, and yeah, it doesn't have to be that hard. I learned that from her.
Yeah. I do all the post-production on Descript and Claude, and it takes me 20 minutes to do the production and the show notes. I have a whole AI agent that does all the podcasts, spits out all the things. So that's not a problem.
Yeah, and I will say having a finite time set for interviews is important, because I've had some interviews. I had one recently where, like, if I had let her, she probably would have gone on for a whole other hour. Like, and I kept trying to bring her back to what
People
the
that
point
don't
of
look
it
at the
was.
clock. For you that are a
Yes.
guest, please look at the clock, watch the clock. If we say it's 20 minutes, make sure you know I'm wrapping it up like at the 18-minute mark and I'm gonna like
And you
prompt
know
you.
what's so funny is that she actually asked me how long, and she went well beyond what I said, and she just kept going, and I couldn't
Look
get
at the
her to
fucking clock.
stop. I was like,
Let's
okay,
go.
maybe Zoom will just cut out, but yeah, it's hard, and I think that is part of becoming a guest and getting used to it. Is I mean, a host, because you just don't know, and sometimes you don't know until you're in it how good or not so good it may be. Connie, did you have your hand up? You wanted to share something, or was it somebody else?
Well, for people who don't pre-interview people, do you send out an email saying, think about the stories, it's going to be this long? Uh, so that was my question for people who don't pre-interview.
Some
I
people
know
do.
some I
Yeah.
know some in this room do because I've been on their show and they've done it. I see a wide variety. I will say as a host it's important to say do a reminder, remind them where it's recording, where the link is, ask them to be in a quiet space, have a mic, use headphones if they those sorts of things. It's up to you if you want to provide questions or example questions you might ask. You know, some people like that. I don't really do it because I just go off, I let the conversation flow. But that is a way to help guests to say, these are the type of questions I may ask you, you know. So that is one way to do it is to send a reminder email with some of that info, like the day before.
Well, and what I'm hearing about guesting is what are you providing the people who are listening? And I think that's what when I finally get my podcast out, I want to make sure that my guests go, okay, this is what I want to provide for the listeners.
Right.
That was, I mean,
And that's something really important to say at the beginning. It's like, you know, this is really, my podcast is very listener focused, that we're sharing things that will help them. Because, I mean, it is a balance. People tell stories that don't necessarily give them action tips, but you also kind of have to balance it with them really providing information that's useful to your listeners. We had a couple more people join, so I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves. We did a minute introduction in the beginning. So, Candace, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm sorry I'm embarrassingly late.
Oh, it's okay. We already had someone had to leave early. No worries at all.
So I'm Candace Darty. I host Gratitude Geek and Sci-Fi Book Pod. I have been a podcaster since 2014, but I launched my YouTube talk show in 2012. So I've been doing this for a while. Amy Stone is my podcast BFF, and I don't know what I would do without her. Everybody needs to have a podcasting BFF. If you don't have a podcasting BFF, you need to find one right now, because when you have a podcasting BFF, everything is easier. I run a community for Gen X women solopreneurs, and I also just launched a creator collab mixer for creative women creators, and it was electric. Some of the feedback that I got it was the best networking meeting they've ever been to, because they didn't feel like people were trying to take from them, that everybody there was there to give. So I think it was a successful launch, and I'm very proud of it. And that's me in 90 seconds.
Love that.
Sorry, 50 seconds.
And yes, I came late to that, so it's okay. I didn't have it on my calendar for some reason. Candace's mixer was great, and she's doing it every month, so feel free to drop the link in the chat so others can join you next time. Okay, and then Elizabeth, you want to introduce yourself? Just say who you are, what you guessed on, that sort of thing.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I see some familiar faces here, which makes me very happy. I am a psychotherapist. I've been in practice since 1998. I work with people who are trauma survivors. I'm a certified domestic violence professional. I've worked in foster care, worked with people with disabilities, consider myself neurodivergent, and work with individuals who are seeking support with some sort of transition crisis point in their life, feel like maybe they're lost or stuck, overwhelmed. They may or may not identify as having mental health concerns, but they just know that they need something or someone to help them at this point in their life. And I like to be that person and meet them where they're at and support them as much as possible.
Yay, love that. And Elizabeth just joined my membership and she's looking to be a guest. So if you think you might be a good fit for her or know a podcast that would be, feel free to let her know. Love to support new guests to get on the first podcasts. Okay, so we've been talking about interviewing tips and tricks both as hosts and guests. We were supposed to have a speaker, but unfortunately they couldn't make it due to a family emergency. So now that we're about over halfway through, wow, time flies. I'm going to do a breakout room. And I want you guys to think about what is, if you're newer in podcasting, what is the one question you wish you had asked before you got started? Or if you've been in podcasting a while, what is the one piece of advice you would share with people new in podcasting? It can be guesting or hosting, whichever you prefer. I will also I will also send that question to the groups, but first I got to get the groups going. Where are the groups? Okay, I swear everything keeps moving. I am totally... Oh, there they are. Man, Zoom. Okay, let's create 3 rooms. I'm going to give you guys... Most of you are going to have 3 people, so I will give you 7 minutes. So everybody gets 2 minutes. And I will drop the question in the chat once you guys get in there. So what is one piece of advice you wish you'd heard before you got started, or one piece of advice you would share with people new to guesting or hosting? Everybody good? Okay, I will open the rooms and have, oops, let's see. There we go. Amy, did you get frozen? Oh, there she went. Oh, she left. Hello, hello. Welcome back. Anyone have any advice that was shared they want to share with the larger group? Yeah, Lynn, go ahead.
Yeah, Tamara was wonderful. And we were talking about her first idea she shared was just to have that one sheet, but to create a one sheet that you can share digitally or that has all the episodes you've been on as a guest with links to them so that it's that validation for other hosts, right? To really include that access to where you've been. I thought that was a great tip.
Yeah, that is great. You know, it's so funny. That's something I've been meaning to do. I have all of my guest episodes on my website, but I have a few of the podcast names listed on my one sheet, but I haven't hyperlinked them. So I appreciate you mentioning that because that is a reminder for me to do that. Anyone else have anything they want to share?
You have to hear Marlon's advice for us because it.
Yeah, she want to share. Oh, there you are.
Okay,
Go ahead.
yeah. I just said that something that I'm probably not the original author of. But it says, don't guest and ghost, or don't host and post. Just post, Don't do the only this thing, just guesting and then ghosting, or just hosting and posting and disappearing. Just
Yes.
leverage relationship between the guest and the host.
And that is so important because honestly, if you're guesting and not doing the after stuff, then you're missing out on valuable use of that content that you were a part of. One of the things I do is if any of the podcasts I'm on has a YouTube version, I have a playlist on my channel that is all my guest episodes and I link them. So then that boosts that episode, but it also boosts, views on my channel because it's linked. So there are so many ways to do that with guest episodes. And I also love that you said it about the host because I've been surprised in the last year. I've had at least 3 or 4 episodes I was a guest on, and I never heard from the host once it was out. Like nothing, no email, no post. So anything, I just happened to be looking somewhere and saw that it was out. And that is not what you want to do as a host either. Yeah, Connie, go ahead.
What do you mean by a playlist?
So on your YouTube channel, you can create playlists for a whole bunch of reasons. Like I have a playlist of all the Women's Podcaster Party recordings. I have a playlist for the community, the paid membership. You can, with your podcast, you can do season playlists. You can do topical playlists. You can create playlists for just about any reason with the videos that are on your channel. But you can also create a playlist, get the link from someone else's channel if that's your guest episode, and you can add it to a playlist on your channel. Just kind of like what you do with music playlists, and you're adding them to a playlist. So you can create one, and I'll send you the link to my guest one, Connie, so you can see what it looks like. It's a
And
really
most
great
podcasts are on YouTube, and I've done that too.
Yep.
So that they're all there.
The reason you want to do that is it gives you SEO strength. It helps people find you. It strengthens both your podcast and each individual episode that's within the playlist. And especially now I personally don't believe that SEO is dead. I hate when people just jump up, oh, such and such is dead. It's not dead because, SEO was always algorithm based, and the algorithm is AI, but everybody's talking about AEO, which is AI optimization. And the AI optimization basically searches the internet. So it's all still just equally important, but it's a great way to boost the algorithm, not the algorithm, the SEO, the discoverability. That's a better word than AEO or SEO is discoverability. You want your podcast to be able to be found by people who are looking for your type of content. And
really any way you can boost more views on content you're a part of, whether it's originally from someone else's or yours, is important. And the other way to do that on YouTube is you can invite collaborators. So for example, I was on Candace's podcast, and when that episode was put out, she invited me, my channel, as a collaborator, and I accepted. So now that episode shows up on both of our channels because we are co-collaborators on it. So that's another way to boost it beyond just a separate playlist. Yeah, Candace.
I want to add to what Tamara Tamara?
Yes, Tamara.
What Tamara was saying. So I just actually taught a class on AEO, AI engine optimization. And the thing is, the AIs are looking for citation if you're citable. And one of the places they're looking first is YouTube. So when your name shows up in the description of a YouTube video, that gives the AI, the AEO, the clue that you actually know what you're talking about. So try to get your host to make sure your name is spelled correctly and linking to your website in those descriptions for those YouTube videos when you're a guest.
And that is so important even for searching and podcast apps. Like I've searched my name on Listen Notes, and certain episodes I've been a guest on show up, but some don't that are even newer. It's like, okay, so where was my name? It was way down in the show notes, so it's not even being found in searches. And so it is important for you as a host to put your name and the guest name in the beginning of the description, because it is important for discoverability and for search engines. Thank you for sharing.
Can I throw one more thing in there?
Yes, go ahead.
Just because I've seen this recently. If you're using Zoom to record and upload that to the podcast and upload that to YouTube, I don't know, but can you check and make sure that you're putting it at the optimal settings so that the video looks good? Because YouTube does look at video quality when they rank for search. So if two videos are all things equal, the one with the better quality audio and video is going to rank higher because it keeps people on their platform longer so they can show them ads. And we have to be mindful of that. Like when we download, if we upload something to Facebook and then download it, they compress it a lot and it looks horrible. And, you know, when you download it from Zoom, I think it compresses some. And so when you upload it, it doesn't always look as crisp. Now, I would stay away from 4K because that's a monster of on their storage and that. But yeah.
And I have a client who, one of my female clients, which him and I vibe, we work well together, but he noticed he had long interviews and they're needed for what he's doing. It's very specific what he's doing with his podcast, but he can't even upload from Descript directly to YouTube because it's too big, and he has to download it and then upload it, and it takes hours. And I'm like, it's because the quality is good, but that makes the size of it even bigger, and when it's video, it can literally take hours. So it is important to realize the best ways to download and upload. And the other thing that
1080.
Yeah, and I learned this from Tamira, is make sure the SEO words are in the name of the video file you are uploading, as well as in the title and all the other places. Okay, well, we're almost out of time. I just dropped in the chat. I do have dates up for these networking in June and August. For those of you who are guests, please come join us. We have Pitch Fest live on June 11th. You get 3 minutes to pitch yourself, and you get the clip of your pitch after. You can use it however you want. I've also shared I have a podcast lunch fast track challenge coming up, and I also have an anniversary special. As I mentioned, I'm celebrating 1 year of my membership community. If you're interested in learning more, check that link out. We would love to have you come join us. As a part of that, not only, of course, you can come to these events, but we do pitch fests, deep dive workshops. I have podcasting experts come join and do Q&As. Lots of fun stuff coming up. Yes, Connie.
When I save this, I don't save chats very much, but I'm saving this chat. Where am I going to find it?
It should pop up on your computer.
Yeah. When you leave, as soon as you leave this Zoom, you will have a pop-up that has the chat saved in it on your computer. I will also put it in the follow-up email with the recording link.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Thank
so
you to
much
everybody
for being here. It was great to see you, new faces and familiar ones. I hope to see you again next month, and have a great rest of your day and weekend.
Thank you so much. It was awesome.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Good to see you, Candace.